How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
All right, I'm not even wonderfully hungry that you asked me how I'm doing. So I'm hoping you great means you have a healthy appetite, right? Able to eat good, healthy food.
I always have a healthy appetite.
All right, then it's wonderful knowing you've never had a heart attack before and that we're not having a heart attack at the moment.
You're right.
Having a heart attack is not right, actually. It's terrible medically. So if that lets us know we're not having something terrible medically, we just prove medically it must be the opposite of terrible. And the opposite of terrible is, the antonym of terrible is, antonym, opposite.
Okay. What are we doing now?
I mean, we're talking about, there's something that's terrible, but that lets us know we're not having something terrible.
Exactly.
We proved medically it must be the opposite of terrible. And so the opposite of terrible is...
Terrible is wonderful.
Yeah, it is wonderful. That's why, if I have a healthy appetite, and someone asks how I'm doing, I make a point of saying I'm wonderfully hungry.
Gotcha.
Because healthy appetite is true.
Gotcha.
All right, and then so healthy is wonderful. Appetite, same thing as hunger. So wonderfully hungry, when I say it's provably true. So there are not many things, there's a lot of things people believe is true. Very few things are provably true. And you have a healthy appetite too, right?
I do.
So you're wonderfully hungry too. So try saying you're wonderfully hungry. So how are you? Go ahead. So how are you?
How are you?
I know, remember you have a healthy appetite. So we established you're wonderfully hungry too.
Okay.
As I am. So try saying you're wonderfully hungry.
I'm wonderfully hungry.
All right, there you go. But but you put, because of your body language,
Okay.
it's discordant, that you said wonderfully hungry, but you were kind of shaking your head. It allows me to recognize you had to think about it, right, to say you're wonderfully hungry, right?
Right.
All right, it means you and I are alike in that neither one of us want to be hungry, though. Starting with small children cry about it. That's what means small children cry about a situation. Don't like it. We're still that way deep down inside in our heart of hearts. And I'm a heart doctor, so I should know. In case you're wondering why I asked about your heart to begin with. It's right for a heart doctor to ask about your heart, all right?
Gotcha.
So I should know. So deep down inside, we still don't like or want a healthy appetite. But it's also true to say we believe what we want to believe. Because deep down inside, we still don't want our healthy appetite or hunger. We can't ever believe it's wonderful. That's why we have to think about it to say it. Because if we believed it, then we'd be able to say it without the thinking about it. All right, especially if it's something we know up here really strongly enough to prove it. Hey, it's the same thing as healthy appetite. You think we will believe it to say it without effort. But this brings up an important need. That means if we're not saying this, that we're wonderfully hungry, that I think you've never heard of before, right?
I've never.
Right. We're going to be terribly hungry instead, which is known more commonly as hungry and angry combined. Hangry. And the only healthy cure to stop being hangry, all right, is actually to do what I shared with you. Always say we're wonderfully hungry, to mindfully overcome this. Because otherwise, the unhealthy way to do this, to stop being hangry, is using excess food as a drug. And that excess food is behind the high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease. So that's why I'm really strong about this and really, mindfully, involved in this. So I'm animated. That's why this isn't a casual conversation for me when I share about this. But you're not known about this, so you should Google me. All right. So I mean, this is what you should Google. HeartDoc. I really am a heart doctor. HeartDoc Andrew for president. And Google should give you a bunch of stuff, but look for a YouTube interview. A journalist a few years back interviewed me online about this, and it was a miracle. I convinced him online to say he's wonderfully hungry. So you've never heard this before, so it's kind of unreal, but if you hear a news guy online say he's wonderfully hungry, at least it'll become real for you. And hopefully you'll listen to the entire interview and convince you, wow, it's not only real, it's really, really important. So important that that's my campaign platform. I pledge to always say I'm wonderfully hungry, and always, especially Karen convinced before, we all need to do this, stop being hangry. And that's what's behind the healthcare crisis and all that. So the next president, whoever that might be, number 46, and number 45 is our number one example, actually, current day example of hangry. I mean, I've been asked, so is our number 45 crazy? And I go, I'm a medical doctor, so, you're asking if he's medically crazy? No, but he's medically hangry.
Yeah.
All right. And people, how do you know that? I go, actually, there are two insider books, one written by Reverend Amarosa Manigault, the other one written by Michael Wolff. Both of them, the number 45 tried to sue to keep them coming out, so we know it's true, these two books. And in there it describes how he's got this food addiction, but that's what it means to be hangry. You're using food as the excess food as a drug, a tranquilizer, and that's what he's doing. In the White House, they installed an extra button underneath his desk. He presses it, they come running with the cheeseburgers. And they come running because they don't like him hangry either. But otherwise, he's quote unquote, as Reverend Manigault says, unhinged, raging. That's how it is, and it's only if. So even though we may not like him, if we still should choose to care about him, even if we don't like him, and go, hey, Mr. President, you got to be saying you're wonderfully hungry, and all that, instead of pressing that button and stuff. You need to be doing this. So, because his cholesterol is sky high. No, it is. It's documented. He's on the most expensive cholesterol-lowering medicines, and it's still too high. And even though he's been taking that for years, his calcium score, the calcium measurement in his heart vessels, his coronary vessels, is more than 100, 133. Means he has severe blockages, which means that for those of us who are heart doctors, if we looked at tomorrow's headlines that said that he died suddenly in the White House, we actually would shrug and say we're not surprised. And this is despite the most expensive medical treatment money can buy. Were they telling him to he needs to also diet and exercise, but see, he's hangry. He's not going to diet for sure. And then because of his being morbidly obese, he can't exercise. He can barely climb up Air Force One. The steps coming down is like every time I'm looking at him going. That's why he's mad at President. One of the reasons he's mad at President Obama, his predecessor, because President Obama would take those flights up and down like a basketball player. He kind of jogged it up and down. It probably infuriated him all the more that he wanted to get President Barack Obama back because he can't do it. And why? Because he's hangry. It's terribly hungry. What does it mean? Terrible consequences. And the only explanation was that. So this, So now but definitely Google me so you see. And definitely, if you choose to do this instead of using excess food as a drug, even if we're not using it, people are using it on us. You see, when we're that way. And the only way to open it, HeartDoc Andrew for president. He's running for president. Yeah, he's running for president. Why? Because he's hoping to be the America's first wonderfully hungry president. I mean, people talk about America needs the first wonderfully hungry president.
Right.
Why? To undo all the terrible things that his predecessor or her predecessor. I mean, it doesn't have to be me necessarily. I didn't patent this. It's not patentable. So I mean, I want people to do. I want number 45 to start doing this because a lot of terrible things really happening to him, health-wise, socially, politically. Terrible things happening, and this is the only explanation. Why are all these terrible things happening to him? Because he's hangry, terribly hungry.
That word is a strong word.
No, definitely. This is the only way to counter this. Terribleness. It's something terrible going. Multiple terrible things happening. So what must be the opposite of that? How do we go the other way? What's the opposite of the word terrible? It is indeed wonderful. It's that simple. I mean, but it's still, we have to put the order because it's our own issue. It's the number one. All of us have this issue in our heart about it, and that's what's going on. So now you got this already. All right. So let me. Yep. All right.
For here to go, Mr. Andrew.
Yeah, I'm to go.
To go.
Yep. To go.
All right.
All right. And remember, it's HeartDoc Andrew. So you remember to be able to vote for me in 2020 to write me in.
Put it in my phone right now.
Yeah, definitely. Aside from number 45, I may be the only one running in 2020 who ran in 2016.
Oh.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. So 2 minutes again. That's how. Be hungrier. Now that you know it's wonderfully healthier, especially for the heart, and how we got to stop being terribly hangry. And how do we stop? The only healthy way to stop is to overcome this issue by out of our mouths, mindfully saying we're wonderfully hungry. All right. It's the only way. Otherwise, the other way to stop is just really unhealthy, and it really is. Causes us to lose our minds even more. Actually, what happens because it hurts the mind too when we're using any drug, but starting with excess food as a drug. And then how do we do this? It's that simple. Always say we're wonderfully hungry. In all ways, especially Karen, to convince it forward. And we all need to do this. Even for those people we don't like number 45, we don't like because he's so hangry. Yeah, because I'm eyeing the 46, number 46. I'm eyeing that. I'm hoping to be number 46. He won't be. He'll stay at 45, even if he's reelected. Yeah. So 45 is done. The hope is number 46 is wonderfully hungry. If it's not me, someone else who is also who chooses, who knows about this and chooses to be this. But that's it's a campaign platform. It's real simple. I play always say I'm wonderfully hungry. Always says I can't convince the world. All need to do this. All right, be hungry. All right, that's how we have it on the state.